Record. Hi, this is Tami Patzer, and I would like to welcome everyone to how to reach and woo potential clients 24/7 with Facebook using a highly targeted sales funnel. Before I get started, I just want to take a minute to tell you a little bit about myself in case you're not familiar with who I am. I am Tami Patzer, and I'm actually an educator and advocate for business people, and I teach at Florida Gulf Coast University, University of South Florida, and State College of Florida, as well as I do a lot of online training and webinars such as this. I'm a former newspaper editor and TV show producer. I've been in the social media world since about 2009 when I went full time focusing on social media for local businesses. At that time, I created Total Audience Market Immersion for Business, which is a complete marketing plan that I created to help people get found online. I've written some books related to social media and marketing, and I call those the Ask Tami books. And I have a membership site for training called Smart, which is basically social media training for business people. And that is tied in with another training site called Local Online Secrets. And it's just all about helping you learn more about how to use social media to get more clients and customers. So I'm going to go ahead and I just want to make sure that there's nothing wrong before I move forward, and it looks like everything is fine. Okay. So let's first talk a little bit about why we're all here today. We're here because we're interested in Facebook marketing and advertising. And I think it's really important that I preface this a little bit with some basic information. So let me tell you a little bit about Facebook advertising. Facebook, as you probably know, has more than 1 billion users. It's been around for about 11 years, since 2004. And more people hang out on Facebook. So it's really important that you know how to use not only Facebook for posting and the free parts of Facebook, but you need to understand how to use Facebook advertising because a large majority of your potential audience is on Facebook at some time during the day. And if you were to check your Facebook feed right now, you'd probably notice that a lot of your friends are on Facebook, and you know what they're accessing Facebook with? It isn't their PC or their Mac, it is on their mobile phone. So it's really important that you start to think about Facebook and how to allocate your advertising dollars to Facebook in a logical, responsible way so that you're not wasting money. It's really easy to jump into Facebook and spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars if you are doing it incorrectly. But the beauty of Facebook is that you can actually get started with very small amounts of money and test it with amounts like $5 or $20. So it isn't something that you have to spend a lot of money to do in order to test it to find out if it's going to work for you. So it's really important that you understand, number one, that Facebook also has had some recent algorithm changes. And what are they focusing on? I bet you can guess it's mobile. The reason that it's focusing on mobile is because most people are using their mobile phone. So it's really important that you're here. If you're finding yourself that you tend to avoid advertising and you think, oh, I don't have to advertise because I get enough business without advertising, I can rely on word of mouth and everything. this can cause a lot of trouble for you because with this type of thinking and without a targeted sales funnel that integrates targeted advertising, you may never reach your definition of what being successful, especially if that definition includes public recognition or a six-figure income. So you want to listen to what I'm offering today with an open mind. That's my main focus today, is I want you to kind of just open your mind up to the possibilities. And of course, there's some rare people out there who they just avoid advertising because they find it unnecessary, and others avoid advertising because they tell themselves they can't afford it. And that's interesting because that's part of a mindset that many of us have. We feel like we can't afford to advertise, but the reality is, can we afford not to advertise in 2016 and beyond? And then, of course, there's those of you who are like, I don't understand it. I don't know how to do it. It's just learning curve after learning curve. And I understand that. I've helped many people go through and shorten their learning curve with a lot of the education that I'm doing. And then, of course, even if you have plenty of money or business capital, you've decided to outsource your advertising to a social media manager, advertising manager, or advertising company, you could be throwing good money and irreplaceable opportunities away if you don't understand how advertising works today. Because I know we want to trust the people that we're hiring to do the work, but it's always good for you to know firsthand how it works so then you can evaluate how it is working for you. You can create tighter campaigns and reach your exact ideal client on Facebook anytime, day or night, if you know what you're doing with your sales funnels and why. So I want to go ahead and move into what we're going to be talking about, and that is understanding Facebook. What's the big difference in sales funnel strategies today compared to a few years ago? The ever increasing number of people who are living on their mobiles. Like I said, according to Mashable, Facebook is the bigger news source than CNN or Fox, and nearly 50% of Americans are getting their news from Facebook, off of their Facebook feed. And of course, like I said earlier, it has more than 1.4 billion users at last count. It's second among the top websites, both globally and for the United States. And of course, number one is Google. If you've ever done any training with you, we've been talking about this now. Google's your number one search engine. Facebook is your number two search engine. YouTube, owned by Google, is your number three search engine. So it's really important that you know what to do. And Facebook has just increased their edge rank algorithm, and it affects how things run in Facebook. And what we've learned from this is that people want to be entertained and they want to see really interesting content. People love to interact on Facebook. So that is really, really important as you think about both what you're doing for your free advertising and what you're doing in your paid advertising. Here's something really important that you want to remember, and that is that Facebook is revenue based. They want to make money, you want to make money. And there are certain types of posts that are not important to Facebook anymore. So you have to know what to avoid and which new Facebook lead generation and sales strategies are now crucial. So think about that. The latest algorithm has vaulted feed content from friends up above page Facebook pages. So in other words, the content that is coming through your feed from friends gets put into your news feed more than information that shows up on Facebook pages. A couple years ago, it was the opposite of that. So it's really important that we think about that. Now, we want to talk about how you're going to develop some strategies focused on lead generation. Lead generation means how are you going to come up with some strategies to get new people into your sales funnel, to get new friends or new business relationships, and to get the ideal paying, action taking demographic, which means how are we going to find the people who actually want to buy what you're trying to sell? And if you're here today, you're here because you have some type of business. Either you're a coach or a trainer, or maybe you even have a physical product or a seminar or webinar or something that you want people to know about, and you want people to come out and connect with you so that you can have a growing, thriving business. So what we want to talk about today are building custom audiences, and I'll talk a little bit about that, lookalike audiences, pixel placing, and just to let you know, pixels are not about photos. Pixels are about a little bit of code that Facebook gives you for your business account that will help you do what is called retargeting. And of course, retargeting has been the buzzword probably for a year or two now, about how you're able to follow people around who do not buy from you or click on something the first time. So we want to talk about that. And we want to also understand that Facebook is all about interconnectivity or interactivity. It all means that your pages are not as powerful as they used to be, but you still want to use Facebook, and you also want to post content that keeps people in Facebook. One of the things that Facebook rewards you for is keeping people inside of Facebook instead of taking them out. And you also want to know that you have to interact with people who are your Facebook page fans. So it's really important that you understand that if you're thinking that you can only do organic or non-paid things on Facebook and grow a massive audience, it's probably not going to happen. Advertising will put you at the top when it comes to making sure your content is viewed by the biggest, most tightly targeted group of Facebook users and potential prospects possible. But you need to know how it works best and use your advertising dollars, even if you only have a tiny budget right now, to your best advantage. You want to combine quality, highly interactive and interesting content, knowledge of how best to use Facebook's EdgeRank algorithm, and regular planned exposure through Facebook ads, starting with your sales funnel. Now, let's talk a little bit about your sales funnel. No matter whether or not you're new to social media or a veteran, today's coaching culture dictates that you need a strong sales funnel combined with social media advertising. We will talk mostly about Facebook, But I want you to understand that you can apply the principles of strong content and funnel setup to the other social networks too. Just to let you know, Instagram is now owned by Facebook. When you set up your Facebook ads, they will ask you, do you also want to set up an Instagram advertising campaign? So these are all things that have just started to happen probably within the last year that you'll want to think about. Sorry about that. I need to scroll down a little bit. Let me go ahead and check my, looks like I have a question. Let me go check it. Elizabeth, it says, do your fans no longer organically, automatically see your page posts? Elizabeth, in Facebook, they say that it is about down to like 7%. So I skipped a whole bunch of stuff. So basically, the days of being able to have all of your content seen by the majority of the people who have liked your page, it's over. It's been over for quite a while. Facebook, it's a free platform, meaning anybody can sign up to it because it's free. However, over the years, year after year, Facebook has literally forced people to have to buy ads. And the beauty is that it's still inexpensive. And if you learn how to use Facebook ads, it does not have to cost a lot. But the days of having, huge numbers of people see your posts, they're over. And you literally have been forced to use different ads. So let me go back into the formal presentation here. So I want to keep talking about building your funnel. And if you're not familiar with the term funnel, again, it's a sales marketing term. Imagine a funnel. Typically, a funnel is white at the top and then it narrows at the bottom. Sometimes a funnel could be like an upside down pyramid. Also, again, white at the top, narrow at the bottom. The purpose is 4 stages. You need to attract people. And again, I'm talking very specifically about who you want to attract. You want to find and connect with your ideal paying clients. There's a development phase, which is where once you connect with those people, you have to nurture and build a relationship. Then there's the conversion stage. This is where your ideal connections are finally, they're ready to purchase, they're ready to invest, but you don't stop there. You need to keep building the relationship by adding reoccurring income products like membership sites where the interaction with you and your content continues on an ongoing basis. And then you reach as many ideal clients as you can use using Facebook strategies like the pixel insertion and retargeting. And then, of course, there's sharing. That's where the people who connected with you are sharing the fact that they've achieved the results they want. That would be your testimonials and your reviews. And of course, we all know happy people love to say good things, and unhappy people also love to say things. So we want everybody to be happy. But you have to be aware of each stage throughout your funnel and match your advertising strategies, products, and incentives to each stage's main goal. And I think that it's really important. A lot of times we like to skip some of the parts of the stages, but if you stop and actually plan your marketing strategies and put together your funnels, attraction, development, conversion, and sharing, you're going to find that it's going to make your life a lot easier. This is a slide that it should be really useful to you because it gives you some ideas, and hopefully you're taking some notes. And again, I did provide a PDF of this presentation, so in case you missed it, you've got it. But let's talk a little bit about this. You've got your attraction phase. That could include your boosted posts, your custom audience, custom look-alike audience, post engagement ads, event ads, and dark posts. In the presentation, I will talk a little bit about some of these terms that you may not understand what they mean. And then in your development stage, you have email. You should all have some type of email system set up. There are some that are free, such as MailChimp. That's a free service. Aweber is a low cost. You have Constant Contact. I think there's Response. I mean, there's so many different email providers that you can use because you have to keep communicating with people. And then, of course, you have your website and newsletter offers. And for those of you who have been around a while, back to think about old school methods, what they call old school, websites now are becoming more old school as we've moved on to landing pages and things. But newsletters are often very popular, and you'll see that with Aweber or MailChimp or most email campaigns, they actually have templates so that you can create simple newsletters. The third funnel type, conversions, again, this is where people make the decision to buy. Then, of course, with your ads, you want to retarget people who did not make that decision and present your ads to them again until they do. Remember, you are dealing with people who are your ideal clients. You're not just finding people that are, the millions of people out there. You with Facebook ads, you're able to literally narrow it down to focus on the people who are your ideal clients. And then, of course, the sharing phase is where your happy clients share your campaign with their friends. And sometimes they even will become affiliates or joint venture partners. And again, the term affiliate just means somebody who wants to sell your product to make money from it. JV or joint venture partners are people who are also sharing your information with people they know. So I think it's really important that you understand that you need to take some time to develop your funnels: attraction, development, conversion, and sharing. And it's something that I think is really important that you take the time to think about what are you going to do both organically or free, and what are you going to do with your paid advertising. So who needs funnels with advertising? This is one of the marketing paradoxes. The less well-known people, if you're less well-known, then you need to invest in advertising now. And incorporating social media advertising into your sales funnels will fast track you to a place of success more quickly than any other strategy. So in other words, social media advertising is a way that you can get bigger success quicker than organically. And when I use the term organically, I'm talking about free advertising or things that don't cost money. And if you're already well known, what advertising is going to do for you, it's going to help you to reach new, tightly focused, and potentially converting segments of your ideal demographic, ones who don't even know you yet. And Facebook has wonderful analytics, an ad manager, and a power editor, and it makes it that much easier for you because Facebook opens the door for you so that you can see who is on Facebook. You can narrow them down to what they like. Do they use a credit card? What do they buy? What are their interests? How old are they? I mean, you can get a lot of really cool information from them. So if you're doing everything that the experts tell you and you're not building a strong, loyal, paying client base, both for personalized individual or small group coaching or membership sites and products, you're probably still sticking to the old fashioned model. Oops. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of a Facebook connected sales funnel. And before we do that, I'm going to go check my question box. I see there's a question. Let's see. Sam, with regards to advertising, if you're not well known and marketing for your product is at a certain time of year, is it better to advertise at that time or throughout the year? I think it depends, Sam, on what your product is. What you really think about is who is your client, and then you market to that ideal client. And with some testing, I think you'll find out if they buy all through the year or only at a certain time of year. So you need to start with who is your ideal client. And if you start there, I think that's going to help you make that decision on the when to advertise. But again, if you have a brand, you want it to be out there all the time. So I think what you want to do is, if you're thinking about doing Facebook ads, come up with a test based on targeting your ideal clients who are on Facebook. And if you already have an email list, you can actually upload those people into Facebook using a CSV file. And those who are on Facebook, Facebook will do their Facebook magic. And the beauty of that is then you will have what is called a custom audience. And then Facebook has something that's called a look-alike audience. And they will actually go find people who look like your custom audience. So I think that's something that you might want to do. So let's go ahead and talk about, push that away there, the benefits of the Facebook connected sales funnels. Here's one of the top benefits of utilizing Facebook advertising for your sales funnels. And that is, like I told Sam, the degree of the targeting that Facebook can provide. You can specify and segment your prospects more exactly than, I mean, it is phenomenal how exact you can segment your audience, because you can tell, what are they interested in? How old are they? Are they male? Are they female? Are they in the United States? Are they in some other country? What are they interested in? What is their occupation? Do they use credit cards? I mean, there are many, many ways that you can use Facebook that you probably can't even imagine until you get into the back end and start actually looking at that. You can also easily and accurately track and test your ad results using Facebook analytics, and then you adjust your campaigns based on the results. And with mobile technology, there are a lot of apps and high-end merchant services, and there's software such as you've probably heard of Infusionsoft or Lead Pages, and the targeting can become almost automatic and predictive and preemptive when you're using that pixel code action triggers, and I'll show you that later in the presentation, how the pixel code works. And then, of course, you can automatically retarget or re-show your information to people who didn't click. So I think it's really important that are you getting the idea that, gee, there's a lot of good stuff related to Facebook advertising if I can figure out how to use it. And again, the beauty is, just like with Sam, he doesn't have to spend thousands of dollars to test it. That's the beauty. So there's another question. Let me go ahead and see if I can. Gerd, can you still target audiences that are part of a group, comment or post likes? Gerd, what you have to do with that is you can actually find people. For example, you can't go scrape those IDs like you used to a couple years ago. You can actually scrape ideas out of groups. That's actually against Facebook's terms. However, you could say, let's say if you've ever heard of Ryan Dice or Brendan Bouchard or Wayne Dyer or, people like that, you can actually go in and look for people who like Wayne Dyer or people who like Brendan Bouchard, and it will add them into your group. And then there's people that you have on your own website with that pixel. If you're sending people to your own page, that pixel will actually help you to create your own custom audience. And then after you have that made, then of course you could get what would be called a look-alike audience. I know I have some people here from who are with the Silva method. So if you go on Facebook and look for people who like Jose Silva or the Silva method, you would be or meditation, you would be able to target people who have already expressed their interest in that, and then create your marketing campaign around that. Let's go ahead and talk about how the Facebook pay-per-click works, and I'll define some of these things. Here's a good way to start is with likes. And if you start out with likes, you're going to see which of your most liked posts gather the most interaction. And this would be like at the top of your funnel, the white end of your funnel. And then Facebook does all the work here. And what happens is when you first start a Facebook page, they make you jump through some hurdles. And the last time I made a page, I had to get 25 likes in order to be able to name my page. And then they want you to get 50 likes in order to open up your ad manager. And they make you jump through these different hoops to do that. And of course, you typically will go ask people or go into groups and say, please like my page. And pretty soon you've got everything you need to open up the back end or the insights of your Facebook. So what happens is the people who like your page, think about it, those people are already pre-qualifying themselves to say, I like you, I'm interested in what you're talking about. And then your job, of course, is to have high quality, good information on that page so that when they see it, they're getting the good information that you want to share. Now, the term dark post, it's a lot of people go, what does that mean? A dark post basically means it's a post that you write that does not appear in your own newsfeed, but that is presented as a sponsored post in news feeds for those who liked your regular and promoted posts. So it's paid advertising that goes out. That's why they're called dark posts, but it does not appear in your news feed, but it goes out into the news feeds of people's who liked or your regular or promoted posts. So in other words, you're advertising, it appears to be a regular post, but if you notice, just like in a newspaper or magazine, at the top it'll say sponsored. So you're told that it's an ad. So if you begin to identify specific segments and prospect types from the reaction to your promoted posts, especially news segments, then you'll want to start doing the dark posts so that you can understand what the people are reading and what they want. The biggest benefit to a dark post is that they keep advertising off of your timeline so that your own timeline doesn't appear to be just you promoting all the time. And the reason for that is you don't want to oversaturate your friends, the people who are your friends, and put them off with your commercial messages. And then you also don't want to get yourself automatically penalized for having your reach drastically reduced by Facebook's EdgeRank algorithm, which dislikes promotional posting. You'll know if you're in trouble with EdgeRank if you're posting something that's kind of promotional and nobody likes it or comments on it. That'll kind of give you a clue that nobody's actually seeing it. And that's when you know that you're being penalized by not paying for the promotions. Again, Facebook is out to make money, and so that's basically what happens, because a dark post is essentially an advertorial that looks like a newsfeed item, but they're advertisements. So if you do it right, you actually can get business. They look like regular posts, but they're actually ads, and more people will see them because you're paying for them to be seen. So what we want to do is, at that point, you want to set loose all of your targeted results in your marketing funnel. You're not starting from scratch as you send out your emails, because people have already seen your information in your Facebook. You're sending your sales messages to people who've already self-identified or been identified via Facebook as your ideal paying prospect or potential client. And when those who have finally responded to your dark posts and advertorial sign up or like your post or page, you can actively reset your funnel to directly align with this type of new visitor, meaning this is how you're able to use what are called the look-alike audience. That's what that means. And then what you're going to end up with, of course, is a focused, interactive, responsive, and highly effective Facebook funnel. And let me go ahead and I'll show you the funnel, what it looks like. So there you go. If you look at the bottom, it says conversion. We're starting at the bottom. I'll start at the top. You've got your likes and your interactions, promoted posts, dark posts, advertorials, conversion, retargeting, and of course it's a circle that goes around. So again, I just want to re-emphasize, you can capture the dark segment by setting your Facebook ads to target look-alike audiences. That's what I mentioned before, is that once you have your custom audience and you have about 1,000 people, then you can ask Facebook to go find other audiences that look like those people who actually are your clients. So in that way, your list of people who like you grows, because you start out with your people that who like you, develop your know, like, trust relationship with them. Then Facebook steps in and says, oh, okay, you've got all these people, we know all this about them. And then they will actually help you with a click of a button. There's a little button that says find lookalike audiences. You push that, and then they help you find the lookalike audience. Let me go check my questions again. Let's see. If I become a Facebook group member, is there a way to get the FB ideas of the other group members? GERD. Again, the answer is yes, but I cannot answer that question in terms of Facebook's terms and rules. At one point, there were some apps that you could get that would actually go and scrape the group's ID numbers. But since it became against the rules, I quit following that. So I can't answer that question with any real knowledge as of today, because once it became against the rules, I abandoned that, because I know some really big name people who got kicked off of Facebook, and it nearly put them out of business. So I don't personally know of any scrapers at this moment in time, but there were some, but I don't know now. Sorry, I can't answer that question. Okay, oops, I skipped a whole bunch there, or did something. Okay, so again, you want to add all these different strategies together. And again, those lookalike audiences are going to be very helpful, and they will look just like the people who have already liked your page or bought from you. And Facebook will help you, but you do need about 1,000 people in order to do this. And the beauty of all of this is that Facebook will keep helping you even while you sleep. So Facebook, even though it's this huge, massive, global company, they obviously are in it to make money, and so are you. So they're going to help you with all that massive information that they have. Let me go ahead and scroll down here a little bit. And we'll talk about the drawbacks of Facebook advertising. And this is what we know. We know that no matter how clever the shopping cart systems like Infusionsoft are, or any of them that are out there, or how easy you can create landing pages and how easy it is to track, there's one thing that you have to know, is that you are the person who's in charge of all of this. And like I told Sam earlier, you have to know who your ideal target market is, because that's where you start in all of this. You don't start with the ads, you don't start with the campaign. You actually start in what I would call the beginning. You have to start with asking yourself, who is your ideal target market. And then you have to study this person or this avatar, this market, and that's who you focus your individual campaign to, because there's a certain person or company or group of people who are your ideal target market, and you want to be sure that you know who those are. And if you do the testing, you might even end up finding a sub niche or niche and hidden segments of people that you didn't even know were out there, who might want your information. So you have to look at all this from this informed, highly specific, focused position. You can't afford to create just a static sales funnel. You need one that's highly responsive to each individual prospect at each specific stage. Facebook advertising really excels in this respect, but only if you take the time to learn what you can do with retargeting and segmentation. Of all the things that you need to understand now, and if you listen to any of the internet gurus out there, what they're all talking about is retargeting and following up and uh, content, making sure that you have the funnel and that you're constantly talking to your prospects and clients and targeting the right people. So here's an example. If you're reaching someone who's already subscribed and you don't want her to receive any emails inviting or forcing her to subscribe again, then you want to make sure that once they subscribe, they get moved into another part of the funnel. So they're subscribers and not prospects. So they're two different people. So you want to make sure that you have that built into your email system once everything gets going. Somebody's got a question. Let me go check. Okay, Sam, how focused can Facebook get with the search tabs? For example, if I want to advertise to English teacher, can I get to Title One? Sam, um, I don't know about English teachers or Title One English teachers per se, but I certainly know that you can go in to Facebook into your insights and type in those looking for teachers or certain grade levels, or where do they work. You can, what schools do they work at. If you had a list of schools, for example, you could probably get teachers who identify with this particular school. The answer to your question is, if you do the research, I'm sure you'll be able to drill it down to some level. I don't know for sure if it would go down as far as Title One English teachers, but I know that you could definitely drill into different states, different cities, different schools, connected by interest, homeschoolers. So that would be something that you could do using Facebook Insights, and that would just be spending time and no money to do that research. So if they're on Facebook, you would be able to find them. What I would suggest that you do is, write down specifically what it is you're looking for, and then go into your insights on Facebook and start doing the research. And just to let you know, I will be doing some over the shoulder type things, and this could be a perfect example of something that we could do in an over the shoulder, take a topic and do the research. So anyway, I hope that helps. Let me see here. Okay. And it kind of goes right on to that with Sam's question there. Um, the big thing that you want to be sure of is you want to understand the purpose and the goals for each level of your funnel. If you remember, we talked about our different levels of the funnel. So make sure that you plan what part of the funnel that you're working on and what you're producing for each level of that funnel. It does take a little bit of time, and it's not something that you just automatically do it. It does take some planning and some time. And also, just like what Sam is talking about, he wants to drill that down to very specific English teachers, Title I English teachers. And this is really important because the more targeted your advertising is, the less expensive your advertising is going to be, because you're going to be targeting the people who will actually buy your product. So it's important that you do that. And also, write a note to yourself when getting started. Make sure that you set a very small test budget. Don't say, oh, I'm going to spend $100 and spend $100 without testing it, because you can run through a lot of money very quickly with very poor results if you don't plan it and test it. And like I said, you can test with very small amounts of money, which is really important. In the next section, I'm going to talk about what you would call selling your program if you're selling, let's say, something like an online product or a program or a seminar. This will probably be really attractive to people in the coaching profession. So pay attention, because I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can use different methods and what you could sell, before I get into creating your some of your ads and some of your other information. So let me go ahead and talk about that. So the funnel stage, and the reason I'm using this as an example is so that you can, again, kind of open up your mind to some different ideas about how you might sell your product or services in an online environment. I know many of you may be used to selling things in the physical world, or through catalogs, or through other methods. So this part of the presentation is talking about selling your program, and I'm specifically talking about something like a training product. So when you get past the promoted posts and into the dark posts, you're going to be reaching new people and sending them to custom destinations, such as sign up landing pages and very inexpensive no-brainer offers that include a sign up. Now, most of us, you might have been sending people directly to your website, and they get lost in nowhere land because there's nothing there except a page. You'll be wanting to send them to a landing page where you're going to either capture their name and email. And I say name and email because you're not going to scare them off by asking them for every bit of information. You just want to get their name and their email and give them something of value at that point in time. So you might have a landing page or just a simple offer page. And here's an example. Your regular subscribers are sent to a landing page for a VIP day, but those who entered your interaction funnel late as a response to dark posts or advertorials need to be sent first to a sign up incentive landing page. Even if they want to buy straight away, they still need to subscribe. So the initial offer or subscription switch to this is an example of a strategy everyone is just starting to become aware of, which is retargeting. So you can convert your new dark group of interactors. It's important, however, to recognize that an inexpensive no-brainer offer should be in line with your ideal client demographic and what they consider inexpensive. Some people think that $97 but below $297 is inexpensive, but other people might think that $7 is inexpensive and that $97 is expensive. It really depends on who your ideal client is. So again, I don't know what any of you are selling, but you have to know, it goes back to what I told Sam, you have to know who that ideal target is. Somebody has a question, let me check. Okay, Teresa's selling books. Okay, so Teresa, if you're selling books, then you're probably your book, if it's, let's say it's a Kindle book, the big thing on Kindle is to have a 99-cent sale, or sometimes they give away the free books to get people to sign up, or it could be a chapter of your book, or it depends on what the book's about. But that is an example. I've seen Kindle books sold at 99 cents. And then I've also seen physical books where they give away the book for free, but they charge for postage and handling and send the physical book. And I just saw this the other day. It was, here's my free book, send me $7 to cover the postage and handling. And of course, that $7, if you think about it, is probably going to cover the cost of printing that book and mailing the book. And so in essence, that free book cost to get the lead, they paid $7 to get the lead, which would probably, depending on what else they're selling, which I don't know because I didn't go through the entire funnel, maybe they're selling a $2,000 training product. Your book, if you're just selling books, you're probably not going to make a lot of money just selling books, but it depends on the type of book and what the purpose of the book is. Because I know Sam, they sell books and they've sold lots of books to schools because of the nature of the books. So it's just one of those things that you have to think about. And then, of course, generally, if your ideal client, there may be an incentive such as a discount, $100 off if it's a bigger priced item. You also might want to promote with a webinar, such as what I'm doing here with my webinar. We're here doing a training about Facebook advertising with a webinar, and all of you said, I'm interested in learning about Facebook advertising. That's why you're here. And if I had a big product, I could use a coupon code for $100 off the offer or whatever, but it's a reward. And then you can also pre-qualify people with this offer. So let's go ahead and move here. Let's see. For some reason, oops, there it goes. I want to talk a little bit about what you might offer. And again, on your book, I don't know what the book is about, if it's a fiction book or a nonfiction book, or if it's part of, maybe you do training or something. But here are just some ideas of some things that you could offer as a product or as a freebie. For example, if you're a coach, Maybe you want to do an introductory strategy session, 15 minutes, a half an hour. Webinars, of course, we have free webinars, paid webinars, or pre-recorded webinars. High value paid newsletters. Remember the Kiplinger report back in the day? It was typed. I'll never forget it because I made one. I used to work for Charlotte County, um, not Charlotte County, but I was part of a group, and I did a thing about the Charlotte County report, talking about what was going on in economic development, and I modeled it after that report. Critiques, you can critique. Let's say that if you were selling, beauty tips, you might do a critique on someone's makeup. Maybe you're selling your signature ebook or a print book. You can do coaching mini packages or introductory packages, coaching packages, one-to-one tune-up sessions. You could have coaching resources, live events, exclusive clubs or membership sites, resource clubs, courses, VIP days, mastermind retreats. You know what your ideal clients are looking for. Using Sam as an example, they produce vocabulary books. Well, maybe they might put together some video training showing teachers how to use these books in the classroom. And then maybe they could sell that training as a video series or as a live training, or they could go to the schools. I mean, there's different things. I don't know exactly all the rules involved. Let's see, there's another question. Teresa, husband has a hydroponic lettuce business in South Carolina. Are there big companies, Burger King, Cheney Brothers, on Facebook? Would it be worthwhile, do you think, to use Facebook for this type of business? Hydroponic lettuce business. So you're basically selling to big companies. Yes, those big companies do hang out on Facebook. Again, you would have to, I think, test it. You'd be looking for, I guess, the people who buy that type of stuff. People hang out on Facebook, but people also hang out at LinkedIn. Again, all of this type of advertising and training, it all goes back to who is your ideal customer? Where do they hang out? Now, Facebook may or may not be the ideal place for that particular company, but that doesn't mean that LinkedIn wouldn't work or other places. It really depends on who that ideal customer is. And Teresa, the beauty is that you can go into your insights in Facebook if you have a page, and you can do that research looking for that type of business, and find out who's there. So that's what I would do, is if you're trying to figure out, that type of information, you would definitely want to do the research. And I imagine you need to know, who are the buyers for these companies, and who buys that, and are they your only market? Are there other people that you want to do business with? So that's what you need to do, is do the research, and that will help you. Okay, let's see, where am I at? Sorry about that. I'm trying to see what's next. Okay. So what we're coming up to next is we're going to be talking about setting up your Facebook ad to send traffic to your squeeze page. And I just want to just say, okay, what is a squeeze page? Basically, a squeeze page is a page with one specific focus. It is to capture a name and an email, and you are offering something in return for that. And the beauty is that with your Facebook ad, you can take people to this squeeze page, and in a you're going to understand the reason that we're talking about this is because of that custom audience feature that I was talking about, and the pixels that Facebook gives you now, so that you're able to track exactly where people are going on your website, or wherever you're able to install a Facebook pixel. And it could be in your website, it could be in your squeeze page, but it will help you. Now, this is important. If you are a PC user, you want to be using the Chrome browser, because that is the browser that works best with the retargeting pixels. Don't use Internet Explorer or Firefox. It may or may not get you what you want, but definitely use Chrome, Google Chrome, and it will help you. Another beautiful thing about Facebook advertising is if you're paying per clicks, you're not going to pay anything unless somebody clicks on it. So it isn't, again, do not pay for impressions. You want to pay for the actual clicks, because that shows you that you've actually had an action. And you also want to make sure, again, remember, we're creating this funnel, and you want to make sure that somebody is really qualified. And again, when you set up your audience that you want people to go to for your advertising, you're going to be clicking on custom fields such as their behavior, their connections, their interests, and you'll be able to do this in your Facebook Power Editor, and you'll be able to look at your audience insights in your Facebook Ad Manager. Also, we want to talk a little bit about the graphics you choose, and I'm not going to, obviously, we don't have enough time to go through all the details of all of this, but think about when you're choosing graphics and who's your target audience. If you're targeting a 50-year-old woman with no children, you don't want to show a soccer mom with kids in your graphics. Or if you're targeting a writer, you're not going to show them football players. And if you're targeting, dog lovers, you're not going to be showing them a cat unless there's a reason to show them a cat related to dogs. So you want to be sure that you're choosing graphics, because think about it, picture's worth 1,000 words at least. You want to be sure that your graphics are conveying the message that you want to convey. And again, pretty girls, people like pretty girls. People don't like crying babies. Think about the differences there. And here's a couple more things to think about when you create your ads. And the beauty is that Facebook will help you when you're making your ads, but on your ads, you cannot have more than 20% text. I know that I've had it happen to me where I'll make an ad and I'll think I'm okay. It'll be approved, it'll run, and then all of a sudden it's not approved anymore. And it'll be because I had a little more than 20% text on my ad. No autoplay videos. And you must include on your landing pages your privacy policy and your legal notices. And you have to have at least one link on your landing page that makes it so that people can escape out of your landing page, and that will help you so you get your ads approved quickly. So these are just little things that will help you when you're working. Here's some other ideas. Of course, a strong headline. It is really important that you have a strong headline, make people curious so that they're going to click. Think about your ideal client. What do they think about? What makes it so they can't sleep at night? What is their biggest pain? What do they need? That's what you put into your headline. Or ask them a question. It's been proven on YouTube how-to videos get viewed the most. And even, here's a little tip, even in YouTube and Google search, how-to videos will move up in the rankings faster than almost anything else. So there's a little additional tip. Also, you want to say as little as possible. All you're trying to do with your ad is get somebody's attention, get the right person's attention, and you want to focus on the essentials, what's going to grab them and make them click through for the reward. Of course, you want to include your contact information and offer something that is very high value as a reward for the click through. Make sure, and this is really important today, that your landing page is mobile responsive. And you also have to make sure that your landing page is targeted to one culture or country at a time. Remember, there are certain rules in different countries that you have to be aware of if you're marketing in different countries. So remember the rules for Canada and Europe. There's a VAT rule now in European countries. There's different rules for different countries. It's your job to know what the rules are for the country you're marketing to. And if you're promoting a physical live event or a meetup at a local place, make sure you have a location radius in your ad parameters. That'll be very helpful. And make sure that what you're doing is connected. Like if your ads are sending people and your email people campaign should be sent to your landing pages. And you think about your goal for your landing page. Remember, you have to break this down. Like, for example, let's go back to Sam's example. He had his English teachers and then his Title I teachers. Well, maybe he has a landing page for Title I, and maybe he has a landing page for just plain old English teachers, or maybe he's targeting high school versus elementary, or maybe sixth graders versus second graders. I mean, there would be differences in what those teachers are looking for. So that's something that he needs to think about. Whoops. Let me see here. Now, you'll want to install Facebook's Power Editor, and you probably can't see it here very well, but you easily can go to Facebook and you'll be able to open up your ads manager, and you would just go into your facebook.com/ads/manage/power editor and find your power editor. So these are all things that you're going to want to do when you start looking at this, but I just want you to know that what you can do. And then what you would do is you would go select under accounts and download it. And then you'll be able to create a post and your custom audiences. Again, your custom audiences, if you already have an email list at a email provider. Let's say you have an email list at Aweber or Constant Contact or something. You can download that list into a CSV file and then upload it as a custom audience in your ad manager or power editor, and that will create a custom audience. And then you'll be able to start using those other features from Facebook where they help you make lookalike audiences and everything. And of course, you can go get help in the advertising help section for any of this because the easiest thing is obviously you'll want to actually go into Facebook and see. So you'll want to use your ad tools to define your audience and track conversions. It's very, very versatile, and you'll be able to create an ad to take people to your landing page from any type of content. You're not limited to text or links. That's the beauty. You can have videos. You can now use Instagram. You can make slideshows. You can use images. You have a lot of different options within your Facebook. Excuse me. Let's talk a little bit about the importance of pixels. I think this is probably, if you haven't been paying attention, this is where you want to pay attention. The pixels is important, and Facebook has just recently changed the pixels. So listen up on this if you haven't been into your account for a while, because it's important. So what is a pixel? A pixel is just some short code that Facebook gives you that you can insert into your thank you pages, into your share buttons, and into your websites, into your landing pages, so that you can target and retarget clients and also build a list. So they're basically tracking codes. And it's really easy to make. You literally create a pixel. You only get one pixel account per ad account, but you can change your URL for different accounts. So let's say that you have one ad account. So I made my pixel here and I called mine Tami. And then, of course, I created the pixel, which is a click of the button. And a couple minutes went by and it says, Tami is ready. And this is my pixel ID. And then I can either install it or I can email it to myself or to anybody working with me. And then I'm able to track and actually create these retargeting accounts. So I'll be able to make custom audiences, then I'll be able to have lookalike audiences. Your pixel is like your way of being able to track people and know what actions they're actually taking, and it'll actually let you know if they're good potential clients or not. So I know that I've given you guys a ton of information, and this is what I want to talk to you about next. Is next week I actually have a class starting at Florida Gulf Coast University. It's going to be a 6-week class with a 30-day or 30-day challenge built into it. And the cool thing about this is that what I've done is I've pre-recorded the actions to create everything that you would need to create a funnel and go through. And then every week we're going to have live training so that if you're stuck or need help, you could come on and we would actually work through it and, do whatever it needs to happen. So this is what it is in a nutshell. Week 1, we're going to create our optimized Facebook funnel. Then we're going to create the opt-in gift. And then in week 3, we're going to put together the money-making offer. Week 4, we're going to create the highly targeted Facebook ads. And it's something that if you want, the hand holding to go through, I'm here for you. And week 1's learning objective is obviously we're going to create a strong, unique funnel based on an accurate composite of your ideal unique customer. So I'm going to help you figure this stuff out. We're going to look at who you want to reach and exactly what they need, plan and create the funnel with the perfect flow, choose the high value, low production way to make the sign up gift, create a highly effective email series, and decide exactly how to make money from the ad. That'll be week 1. Then in week 2, you're going to figure out why the gift is your best incentive, set up your targeted squeeze page, know what tools to use to make the process easy while saving time and making money. We're going to set up the offer on your download page for the freebie or your free gift, write and set up the emails to get it out there and to promote your offer. Then in week 3, we're going to put the offer together and we're going to figure out what it is that you want to offer the different people. And again, if you're doing books or something like that, we'll figure out exactly what it is that would be useful to the people who would want your book. And then in week 4, we tie it all up and we create effective, highly targeted Facebook ads and work on custom audiences, the pixels, the retargeting, the traffic, and work on the budgets and go from there. And like I said, every week we're going to do live training with the over-the-shoulder help so that you can, figure out exactly what you need. And again, that's at Florida Gulf Coast University. It's a certificate program for Facebook advertising. The tuition is $250, and that includes all the training. You go to an online site, and then every week I'll send you the emails. You'll get your workbook and an action plan and work through it as a 30-day challenge so that every day you're moving forward to get this Facebook funnel going. And let me go ahead, since I'm not sure if it's in the book. I thought I put it in the chat box, but I'm not 100% sure if this is going to let me do it. Anyway, that's what I have for today. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And I'll put this link into the box here. And then also tomorrow, and I'll send this to you, I am talking about 7 things that you can be posting in Facebook organically. So you might be interested in that. Does anybody have any questions? And again, I gave you some handouts. If you look at the handouts, I've got the keynote slides of the presentation. The handout is kind of handy. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's an action guide. And it just helps you to start brainstorming. So that might help you a lot on what you might do. I'm not sure if you can even see that. I just opened it up. So let's see. Any more questions? Let's see. Hydroponic lettuce. Okay. The webinar for tomorrow, I'm reposting in the chat. And let me see. Questions. Whoops, sorry. For some reason, my questions disappeared. Oh, there it is. There you go, Esther. I put it into the thing. The class, typically the online course is on your own time. The webinars will probably be at 2 p.m. on Thursdays. Let's see. Sherry, what industries are not productive on Facebook ads? That is a question where it's hard to answer because you would want to go into the back end of your insights and type in, whatever it is and see what's there. It isn't, I don't, without a clue on what kind of industry, I would say that what's not productive on Facebook is if the people you're trying to reach are not on Facebook, then of course they wouldn't be productive. So whatever you do, no matter what advertising you do, and it doesn't matter if it's Facebook advertising or online, offline advertising, newspaper advertising, magazine advertising, any type of advertising you do, you have to know who your ideal target audience is, because that is what drives the decisions that you make about advertising. Does that make sense? Teresa, tomorrow is 2:00, and I will be sending you a link to that along with the recording of this presentation. So does anybody have any other questions so I can let you guys go? We've been here about an hour and a half, and I'm sure that you guys are busy. Let's see. Okay. Sherry, conversely, highly effective industries. Okay, what would be highly effective? I've seen people running, I've seen good things happening on plastic surgery, spas, beauty, dentists, cars, of course, celebrity, real estate. It really, really depends. Luxury items, physical things, products. There's a lot of people using like Shopify and selling things like that. So it really depends on like who your clients are and who are they targeting. I've seen people be successful, like, for example, a real estate person used Twitter very successfully, focusing on people who golfers, for example, and everything in his Twitter feed was related to golf and people interested in that lifestyle. So let's say that you're in a place where there high-end luxury items. What do high-end luxury people buy? High-end real estate, high-end cars, different things like that. So it's really a matter of doing the research, knowing who your ideal client is, and going from there. Does that make sense? Great, Esther. I'm glad to hear that. Well, and I also hope not only will you be listening tomorrow, but that you'll apply some of the things that we talked about today. Just to let you know, everything that we talked about today, if you go into Facebook and just start looking at who your ideal customer is and playing with it, I think you'll probably get some really good ideas on how to use it. Yes, Sam, I'll post that. I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. This link here, if you go, whoops, if you go to fgcu.edu, here I'm trying to get it, let's see, copy, send, dashboard, let's see, I'm back to I sent to all the link again, and I'll post it into the chat box again. Sent to all. Hopefully you'll see it. Good. And again, everybody, I will send you a replay of this in case you missed something. Do download the handouts and do definitely watch the video on 10 referral mistakes people make, because a lot of what we're talking about, and again, Facebook advertising is just one thing that we should all be doing out there. So I just want you to know. So does everybody have all the links they need now? I have pasted in uh, the FGCU link, and I've also pasted in the other information. So I hope that everybody got what they needed. And tomorrow, just a little preview of what I'm talking about tomorrow is all about, I'm giving you 7. I actually have 21, but I'm giving 7 because I don't want to be here all day. 7 things that you can be doing on Facebook to help you get more eyes and more traffic, to help you get more business that does not necessarily cost a lot of money. And I know a lot of you are already doing some cool posts, and I have a few ideas that might help you make those work a little harder for you. So I hope that everyone who was here today, I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll be doing more trainings like this as time goes by. And I hope everybody got something out of today. And I really appreciate the fact that you showed up and stayed with me. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.